A show that tackles the big issues affecting the BVI and the rest of the Caribbean. Searches for answers to today's big questions and gives viewers a unique perspective on developing stories. Follow the big story with me, Kathy Richards, only on JTV. This show is brought to you by the National Bank of the Virgin Islands, Cyril B. Ramney Tertola Pier Park, NV Salon Spa Nail and Barbershop, the Wellness Center, Medical and Behavioral Health Clinics, Ticely Cross Deliciously Smooth Cider, HOV Medical and Digicel, simply more speed, reliability and entertainment. This is The Big Story. I'm Kathy Richards. I want to thank you so much for joining us for this edition. We are continuing as we are closer to the date, April 24, when electorates go to the poll for that decision of who is going to make it into the next House of Assembly. But even before the campaign train started, we had an ongoing discourse and conversation with Honorable Carvin Malone. Welcome again to the set. And, I thought that, we concluded the last one we had left us a little open-ended.
Yes.
Yes, you are contesting the general elections, but there are some key things that has occurred during this and has a good correlation to what the discussion that we have been having. How things?
Well, I tell you, first of all, I'd like to say, welcome to all the persons here in the Virgin Islands, in the region, and throughout the world, as I always say. I remember that it was in March, I think it was, of 2019, that we had our first series. And I'm glad to be here at this day, the 20th, the opening of the early voting, to be here to conclude our conversation in this series. And we started back again.
I like your level of confidence.
As soon as the election is finished. Things are great.
Yes.
I think that the people of the Virgin Islands, they begin to, the early voting polls are open today. And I know that we're confident that our Get Out the Vote team is hot on the trail. And we would, by the time this is aired, the polls may well have been closed,
yes,
but we have Monday, the 24th, to deal with. So let's look forward with great enthusiasm.
Awesome. So continuing on, in fact, closing off our discourse about, that path that you have started. I've always said, Carvin is someone that you can always count on to delve into a document and consume it, digest it, and then spit it out to you with good clarity in a short order.
Yeah.
Looking at what you would have started, that process, the One VI agenda process, and taking us into today, a number of things have occurred.
Yes.
And if you will, you would say, these are some of the things that I had a foresight of.
Yes.
And thought I needed to share with the general population so we can start thinking along a certain line. Let's pick up from where we left off.
Yes.
And where we are now today.
So forth. Yes. Okay. Well, I'm glad of the opportunity to do that. The whole concept we have in the Virgin Islands, as I had mentioned all through, and especially through the last year, has been that as a Virgin Islands, we have to make a determination as to what is it that we want when it comes to constitutional advancement. I said that the choices have to be clearly articulated. We have to make sure that everyone clearly understands the benefits and the pitfalls of each of the decisions. We cannot continue to go down the road as is. And we have as leaders, we have a responsibility to restore confidence in governance of our people by our people. We must improve on transparency, accountability, and whatever tenets of good governance that we have. So here we are, on one of the most important, if not the most important. I will have the 1951 way up there and the 1967 way up there.
Okay.
So this matches with the 1950 elections, I think once we get the ministerial system, the next election was 71, 1971 elections, and indeed the 2023 elections will be matching in that stature.
Okay.
And what history will tell of us 50 years from now, 100 years from now, there goes a set of leaders, a group of leaders who did it right. Or, unfortunately, hope this will never occur. Or there goes a set of leaders. What did they do to us? I'll rather be on the prior, the one which says they made the right decisions. They gave us the information. They informed us. They involved us. And we made a decision that, so we are where we are today because of the information and because of the decisions made. I can't tell anyone what to feel, what to think. But once I give you the information, you will then be empowered to make the right decisions.
Okay, in terms of giving the decision, being transparent, these are words that you would have used there earlier. There is still that feeling that information is not and has not been coming out to the general population on a timely basis. A typical example of that is when the instance which resulted in the governor invoking his power to recall the House of Assembly. We heard legislators, I was not able to speak with you to find out if you had received the document in a timely fashion so that you could have gone through it. But there are those legislators who repeatedly say, we get things at the ninth hour. It came over as like a joke when Honorable Fraser said, I'll just write it down there and you'll look at it. But it is something that continues to be of serious concern. Timely dissemination of information for public consumption, for public perusal, yes. and likewise for legislators.
Well, part of the building of transparency and good governance would be to adhere to the rules which says that documents must be laid on the table properly. Documents must be given the exact be afforded the time necessary for the public to become involved. I would say, however, that in this fourth House of Assembly, we have had more public consultations than the past 12 or maybe even 16 to 20 years. But is it enough? No. We have to do more. We have to do more with those matters those items that matters most to us. We must be able to do more, and we will do more because everyone has to be on board. This has to be from the top down or bottoms up. The pyramid has to have a good base in order for it to actually transcend. And I would say this, I'll say this very keenly, although I see a move towards this already. The base cannot leave the top alone for 4 years and then have them come back to you and tell you, well, I missed this, I missed that, I missed that. They must be prepared to look in terms of what is transparent, what is possible, and make sure that at the end of the day, that information is disseminated in a timely fashion, in an accurate fashion, without any hinder. We cannot continue to filter information because we believe that people would not understand. Filter it and be prepared to repeat it 20 times. Break it down 20 times. Explain it 20 times until we understand. Because if it is best for me, then I must be prepared to know what it is that you're trying to enforce on my behalf. I must be able to agree to it. You will never get 100% buy-in. But let's go for the supermajority. Not even the 50 plus 1. Let's go for the 70%, 67%, 85%, because that is the only way that we're going to be able to actually demand and know that we are doing it in the right particular area. We cannot continue to go down the road feeling that we have a dream, everybody must live it. And then when the other guy come in with his other dream, then he wants us to live it, or she wants us to live it. We must involve people so that people make an understanding as to exactly what is it that you're trying to say.
Apply that to the most recent sitting of the House of Assembly.
Well, first of all, the whole area of getting the belonger status on the fast track. This is something which it didn't take an overnight experience to have a backlog of 2.53 thousand people. folks who have abide by the rules. They have been here, they worked, they contributed, they made applications, and the applications were sitting for years. So when we came in, we said, well, look, it is indeed that the immigration particular laws have to be revisited so that we don't continue to have this backlog. Number one, we're a country of 30,000, not 330,000 like America, not 67 or 80 like the United Kingdom. So immigration becomes an issue with us, as it is with them. So we have to look and put rules so that our local population who have a right to feel, well, look, are we going to be overwhelmed? Yes or no? So they want to make sure that whatever policies you have in place, it is one in which we can then feel assured that we don't become minorities in our very own country. That is a concern. Now, how do we do this? We have to then be sure that whatever rules we have a set of rules from through the years, and they were changed in 2007 when the Constitution came in at that particular time, that give, I think, the second or third generations, and we were able at that time to make sure that those people who were going to qualify, they could go through the process. But the backlog occurred anyway because there was a quota on how many persons could be granted either residency or belongers at the time. It created a backlog. So we said, it was just although I'm the third oldest in the fourth House of Assembly, I was the newest in terms of legislatures. We said we need to look at the immigration policy, but we cannot apply what new policy to those who were here before. So let's get this batch out of the way so that we can then decide. So we went on the road, and there were residents. There were people who were ordinarily resident in the territory for over the 20 years, some over 25 years, some over 30 years. The application had been in for a bit. So those that were already resident and were going to the belongers, no issue. But it was those who did not have the residency certificate and nor the belongers. We said, well, let's fast track these also. So a sunset clause was invoked. It was felt by all parties involved, the government, Attorney General Chambers, even the governor's office, that whatever sunset rules and clause were invoked, it covered us legally. It was on the eve of the election, they got the report, and the premier tried to explain that this was no fault of the people who, in fact, had applied. So at the end of the day, he said, well, look, let us go ahead and let us, the governor said, let's go ahead and let's make it right, because the 12-month grace period that was needed between the resident and the belongers status, that may not have been set up right in law. The sunset clause may have made mention of it, but here is something that needed to have happened in order to do it. So it was no error of us, no errors of the people who applied, and no error even of the Attorney General Chambers and so forth. But they wanted to make sure that this was done in law, as opposed to just a sunset clause.
I think for the greater part of it, persons have an appreciation for wanting to fast track. But what I think is the issue you're hearing more of is that they haven't seen a list of 688 and persons perusing it. There is the concern that there are so many other people who would have been here contributing, doing X, Y, and Z.
Well, it opened up that particular argument, but the fact is that whoever had qualified under that, there was an opportunity to
but people said they move and they move to applying. That sometimes they were told no, you can't come now. and they're showing you that the documents. So I think that is one of
A
the
part of the area.
bone of contentions. But
Well, that should not have been. And at the end of the day, there were departments, there were agencies set up to specifically handle that. So we have to be mindful that as legislators, we have about two to 2.5, and we're not throwing anyone under the bus because at the end of the day, it was corrected or it was put in order. The governor assented to it,
yes,
and he is basically saying, and we are saying, all those applicants that are sitting there still not processed, we have to attend to them in a timely fashion.
Yeah.
Don't leave them sitting there.
say nay or yay, say
Yes.
something to them. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Moving forward, you categorize this election as a very critical one in
Yes.
this time. Apart from those issues that we face internally, what is the one of the main things that we have to grapple with when a new government takes office?
Well, we have a number of main things and so forth. Well, we will never get away from the fact that when it comes to our politics is local. So let's deal with the local parts first,
Okay.
not even the international part. Our politics is local. We have to deal with the fact that our most vulnerable are still not, in my view, being taken care of in an effective and efficient manner. So we have to look in terms of our substance abuse persons, those who have mental challenges. We have to look in terms of making sure that we make provisions, both in physical and in particular substantive ways in handling this. We have to look in terms of our aged. Are they properly prepared for? Do they have the programs that will allow them to have the kind of lifestyle that is necessary for us? We have to make sure that our justice system is working properly. We have to make sure that our land policy doesn't exclude us down the road. We talk about 50, 100 years down the road. We have to make sure that the person in Virgin Gorda, because when you speak to the young folks in Virgin Gorda, they are most concerned that if you allow lands to go and be inflated to where $1 million for an acre, $500,000 for a hotspot, and so forth, then as far as they're concerned, then when do you, in fact, get an opportunity to, or how could you get an opportunity to participate in land ownership if you are at a young age and did not get on that particular track already? So we have to find ways in which we can at all times have lands available for those youngsters coming into the fold. So land issues are a particular concern. We have to look in terms of if the financial services sector is going to shake in any way because of these onerous rules that are being put on us in terms of the, in terms of open registry, take a look, just like in your bank account. If you have a rule tomorrow where it says every bank account should be made open and to the general public, so that we will know that if you had $100 yesterday and 100,000, then the people should have a right to see it. Is that right? I think not. So the thing is that we have to have rules that allay the concerns of any illicit trades that will be coming our particular way without damaging the entire industry. So we have to look at that. We have to look in terms of building a tourism product. Are we getting the most out of it? We have a Financial Service Commission, FSC. Do we need a Marine Service Commission so that we can get the most out of a marine product? I told you before, if I had another life, then I'll be developing a whole theme around sailing BVI, the other 18-hole sport. We can get a whole lot of it, whether it is fishing, long line fishing, sailing, going out there in the deep blue, 200 miles out. All ocean flows carries a lot of resources. Mm-hmm. We have to see how best we can capture that. We must get our fisheries back up and running.
The lifeblood of this territory is right around us.
Right around us and so forth. But we have to have provisions for where people go out, they do the catch, they bring it in, and they can take it to market right away. The state can, in fact, purchase all that they have and then distribute it or have it sold from the retail point of view. So if we're able to maximize on that which we have, we would be doing a good thing.
Okay.
If we look at the terms of the flights coming in, for, starting in June, directly from actually Miami, I look forward to this because what will happen, and I always felt that we should go that way, where we have 4,600 feet. That will now going to be used. That's going to be used to where we can, in fact, use that, bring in, whether it's 70 at a time. We have one trip daily. That's a better start than most countries because some countries, they don't have the volume, so they have one trip 3 times
A week.
yeah, 3 times a week. We starting with the maximum, one trip, 7 days a week.
Yeah.
That is going to build to 2 trips. It's going to build to 3 trips. We're going to be encouraging hotel rooms to be built. We're going to be encouraging conferences to be made. We're going to be encouraging them. And then that natural determinant in terms of number of people coming in, we're going to be able to expand the airport without any problems at all because we would have built up the interest necessary to get another 600 or 1,000 rooms throughout the Virgin Islands. Because in Tortola itself, these are the ones that are without the 4-star.
Yeah.
We have to be able to do that, and we have to be able to do number of rooms necessary to take the traffic coming in. Because if you have 300 people landing here every day and no place to put them, then you're in the worst trouble because you're marketing what you cannot uphold.
Yeah.
Or infrastructure have to be built up to match this. We cannot have the sewage plant not up and running in the 7th and 8th district. We can't have it overflowing in the 4th district. We cannot
afford to have the incinerator not going
in the 1st and 2nd
well,
district.
which brings me to shifting this conversation as we have just about another 10-15 minutes.
Okay, and we didn't hit the closing remarks.
Yes. So, but I want to go back to you would have served as the Minister for Health and Social Development for about 3 years.
Yeah.
3 years.
2 of which was the pandemic.
Well, it's still the Ministers of Health
That's
portfolio. You served that time. Are you satisfied as you sit here now that you would have done enough?
Well, when it comes to the waste management?
When it would comes to health services.
Yeah, and so forth. We have done more in the 3 years than some folks have done even in a particular area.
Let's not go there, but I just want to know if you, as Carvin Malone,
no, there are a lot more to do because there are a lot more that has to be done. Mm-hmm. We were impeded by the close down and the particular areas that had to be administered and addressed for COVID-19. Let us make no doubt about this.
That's
okay?
a fact, yeah.
So let's take them quickly since we have a short time. In terms of waste management, when the second fire occurred in about a year and a half ago, we put a plan where we were going to look at the immediate, the medium, and the long-term range. We had put to where we were going to buy about 6 or 7 mobile incinerators so that we can handle the immediate need. They were going to be available by September, within a 3-month period that we had started to look at this. We engaged the RDA, we engaged Woods, and they had certified that this was a good alternative. We were going to place 3 of them here in Tortola. We were going to place 1 or 2 on Virgin Islands and 1 on Josh Van Dyke and 1 on Anegada, so that we could then, and then that whole We Recycle program was going to go into full gear. We just opened up a beautiful particular facility up there that they're now empowered to do more because the Green VR is working in affiliation with the government, not for, but with the government in terms of building that capacity. Because or recycling or reuse or particular laws must be brought in place so that the 135, 150 tons that goes into the stream for treatment at the 2 or 3 centers, that can be reduced substantially. And we were going to do that at the same time because we can never let a crisis go to waste. So at the same time, we were going to do those incinerators. Okay, when the minister reached back in May, a decision was made to get the control panel and fix the incinerator there, which left the open dumping all now to do it. But at the same time, I don't know what happened, but I'm told that the control panel, either it was recently ordered or it's still not ordered. I'm not sure which one.
Okay.
But this is what has to be done so we can then get that open burning in the interim, giving us an opportunity to get a new tertiary treatment equipment purchased, in place, started while we rebuild. There's also provisions for us to create landfill areas with the treated effluent coming from it so we can use that. The Parkwood Pond area was already being investigated together with some areas in the west and other areas, but they have settled on the Parkwood Pond area as a reclamation area. So I was comfortable that with that approach, we could get it handled in the medium and in the long term. Well, short term also. Short term, medium, long term.
Okay.
And we could do it. In terms of healthcare, because of the pandemic, we were able to expand the Rotan Clinic. We were able to purchase the 40-bed field hospital. We were able to look in terms of a laboratory, which is now doubled in space, doubled in capacity, and becoming certified. This is a big deal. We were able also to look in terms of building a COVID-ready ward with negative pressure rooms, which is doubling as a specialty unit. Specialty services will be offered from that particular unit. That's a big deal again. In terms of Virgin Gorda, we have to finish the second floor in terms of equipment so that if you want to be a Virgin Gorda and born in Virgin Gorda, you can have that without any particular risk. We must provide about 5 days a week, 24-hour service, and a Garda Just Van Dyke, because they bring in a lot of money from the tourist dollar. But we want to make sure that if people vacation there, they become ill, a doctor is available for them, and so forth. In terms of our vulnerability services, again, we have to look in terms of whether or not we can put 4 or 5 floors at the existing site of the Adina Donovan home, so that we can then have the hospice, the respite, and the aged services that are there, close to the medical facilities. There was a plan to have it all at Spooner's. We have to decide that. We have to make a decision, and I think the public must have an input on that, because I am thinking that the Spooner's area could be looked at in terms of those other services for less or most vulnerable, could be looked in terms of a multi-purpose center there or anywhere else. And we have a number of other issues that we can do.
Quickly,
I can stay here all day talking about that.
I know, but quickly, there has been a cry from government to government, and let's deal with this quickly. The BVI Health Services Authority keeps saying we need government to budget more for us, and for the little bit that they've been budgeting, to release in a timely manner so that we can deal. It was so heartbreaking to see the other day a circular going around saying that to the staff, we can't pay you on time. You know, these are issues that the internal aspect of BVI Health Services Authority is grappling with.
Yeah, well, what we have to do most is that the NHI program is one we have to relook, because the hospital is basically, HSA is being bound by both arms and says swim. The fact is that we got to give them room to run. We have to be able, because they're asked to make services free of cost for the school-aged persons. They make free of cost for 65 and over, free of cost to the uniformed persons, and they're not able to, quote-unquote, balance bill. If these persons who they are charged with, they're given $40 or $43 million and say, well, look, you have to take care of everybody who come in under this particular category. And yet these persons are able to go to private enterprises, and then they have to pay again, twice, for that particular services. But why do they go? They go because sometimes some of the services are not available at the government center. So this is a reality. So we have to increase the particular, I think we have the best equipment anywhere in the region. Forget about on the island. But because of how the system and the structure is set up, we have to be able to release them, free them so that they can then turn it also, in addition to providing the community services that they empowered and must do. They have to be able to look in terms of how do you make a variable, ongoing concern of the HSA. We need a business manager to be part of that system. because you can have the best doctor in the world. It does not mean that they're the best business person of the module. You have to look and give praise to the private practice, because when you look at how they have been able to be nimble, move around and do whatever is required to build their businesses, as opposed to saying that they're taking the system down, they are enhancing and making services available that others are not doing. But we must be able to lift our particular capabilities up, like we did for the laboratory services, like we did for our imaging departments, like we did for what we have to do. But we must have a business person go in there and make a viable, ongoing concern of the Health Services Authority.
I think this is the first time I would have heard that proposal. They need a business person. But Honorable Malone, I want to thank you so much for all that you have been sharing, and the move that you would have made with the One VI agenda, which would have educated and put a lot of people in a different position in terms of paying attention to what is happening in the territory. On the other hand, we know that you are running for office, and so in this final 30 seconds of the big story, the floor is yours to your audience.
Carvin Malone, there is not a better person to be a member of the House of Assembly for what confronts us. I didn't talk about the fact that the Constitution has to be negotiated. We have to make sure that whatever challenges we're going to have, whether at home or with the UK or with any other particular nations, we have to make a decision as to what we want. You have to have persons who are prepared to fight, because when you have scarce resources, the 13 members have to go in there and they have to fight for what is right. Not on a personal matter, but if you want to make sure that you have the polyclinics that people talk about, and you have education people talk about, and you have the road networks that people talk about, and you have the tourism product that people talk about, all of the vulnerable infrastructure that need to be developed. We have limited resources and a lot of needs. So we have to be able to sit down as a group and say, everyone, you have to have strong enough people who are going to advocate, because there's nothing that happens without passion. You have a person who's passionate about a lot of these particular areas that is necessary. You can't do it without money, but you cannot accept money that's going to tie the other generation to an area of servitude. So we have to be able to do it and keeping our particular sovereignty at bay in terms of moving it forward. Constitutional reform is important, and we're going to have it. All of the local politics, there's none better than Carvin Malone. So on Monday, the 24th, we want you to go out there and make sure you vote for Carvin. Don't forget about me. And make sure that the Virgin Islands Party candidates are in there. We need a cohesive team. We don't need a team that can't work together to start with. And you're going to see as to whether or not they will work together once you put them in there. We have a team that is prepared to work together and get the job done.
Awesome. Here ends our series of, of conversation in this season. I wish you all the best at the polls when it happens.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so much for joining us for this edition of The Big Story. I'm Kathy Richards.